Good evening, people. Good evening. It's a tremendous honor to have all of you on board for this science seminar, which I'm also tremendously honored to have Dr. Nancy Bryan. My name is Dr. Silverman. I live in Alberta, Canada, practice breast pathology. Basically, my designation is laboratory oncologist. And I'm with LifeVantage for the last some years. Blessed to have many MD colleagues, many chiropractors, naturopathic doctors, veterinarians, dentists. You got the idea. In LifeVantage, we have well over 400 registered over 300 registered D's, doctors. And amongst those doctors, we have very few that are actually, I believe, the major validation for this company. These are doctors of pharmacology. So these doctors who actually know the drugs through and through, and these are the doctors who also know the difference between the drugs and the supplements, and they take their job very seriously. And if the supplement doesn't fit the bill, it's not going to be prescribed or addressed with the patient. So today we are extremely blessed to have Dr. Nancy Bryan, the doctor of pharmacology from Phoenix, Arizona. Nancy, not only she's a doctor of pharmacology, she's published, and she's also a cancer warrior. She's absolutely amazing. Her Nancy story, she will maybe tell you later, is just, again, a tremendous validation to healthy lifestyle, to the commitment to health, and to commitment to LifeVantage with our products. Today, we decided to introduce a little bit different format of our science seminar, and we're going to be talking about essentials. We're going to be talking about 4 products that are introduced in the United States as essential and soon are going to be introduced as Canada. Sorry, my hands are too small. Okay, I can. So these 4 products. So we are going to, forgo or forget the PowerPoint presentation and address the concept why these things are called essentials, why it is so important to take them together. And Nancy, I think you're going to be first to start with NRF2 per tandem. So go ahead, please.
Sure. Well, first of all, Sveta, thank you so much for taking the time to host this. I hope you can hear me okay.
Awesome.
Oh, good. Perfect. I just would like to say that this is a great service to so many people in LifeVantage that don't have the ability to explain in greater detail why some of these things are so different than other supplements that are available. And I'm hoping that through sharing these informations that we can help people to share the information more completely and give them the chance to be able to just make a difference in other people's lives by giving them hope that maybe something they thought was not going to be able to be changed based on Western medicine and what maybe they've been told from their doctors. This is the whole idea of what we're doing here with the science seminar, is getting out the information that we can try to express very complicated chemistry in a simple manner that everyone can understand. So first of all, I am from Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been with the company a little over 3 years. As Sveta said, I'm a cancer survivor. I had breast cancer in 2008 after being the healthiest person, really, truly, that I thought I knew. And it just goes to show you that there are some things that happen with our gene expression. And what we want to be able to talk about today is something I wish I would have known in 2008. And that's the fact that when I had the diagnosis with breast cancer, it was very scary to me, and I only thought I had one option, and that was to go to the doctor, to have the surgeries I had and have chemotherapy. And what ended up happening is, after I got all the way through that, then I had a melanoma, and it was very discouraging to me. I had been taking other supplements, I had been doing other things, but they did not have a significant effect, and I still ended up having breast cancer. So today what we want to talk about, or this evening I should say, is NRF2 activation. To start with, is the foundation of what LifeVantage started with. NRF2 activation is so important for us because we're talking about a master regulation in our body to remove trash. And as we all know, we are all being affected by so many different things in our environment, between pesticides that are in our foods, things that are added into our foods, our water supplies aren't clean. We have all kinds of rays and electronics transmissions in the air. All these different things affect us, and they create something called free radicals. And to just give you a simplified example of that, it is a molecule that doesn't have a proper balance to it. And so what it does is it goes into your cells and it starts bombarding all the parts of our cells and creating damage. Now, we are built to have a defense against that through our own antioxidant system. And that comes through this NRF2 pathway. But as we start to age, and with lots of other things that can happen, that this NRF2 protein literally can be sitting around semi-dormant. It has to be activated. And until it gets activated, the proper amounts of antioxidants to come out and neutralize those free radicals in our cells just don't happen to the amount that they should. And we get a buildup of those in those cells. Then you start to see cellular damage, which becomes tissue damage, which can become organ damage. And that essentially is what aging is. And so we've been so blessed to have this product as our foundational product. And what NRF2 activation began with was work through Dr. McCord understanding the revelation of finding this enzyme, this SOD, superoxide dismutase, being one of the things that was going to be able to control these free radicals. And so when we have this product with 5 sub-therapeutic amounts of ingredients, it actually goes in and it will turn on and activate that protein. When that protein is activated, we start creating our own antioxidants at the proper levels again. And when we have our own antioxidant levels, what you're going to see is our gene expressions going from bad expressions to good expressions. And so really what we're finding now is, back in the day, we used to think that if your gene path was a specific path, you had no options to be able to change it, that it would just be fate as to what was going to happen. If grandma had high blood pressure, there was a good chance you were going to have high blood pressure. If grandpa had diabetes, you were doomed to think you were going to have diabetes. And now what we know is that through something called nutrigenomics and through NRF2 activation, we actually have the ability to have genes expressed properly. And so that's what the NRF2 product is the beginning of. And what we see is it being the foundation to this essential pack, because we want the nucleus of our cells to be the general of our cell and to tell the gene expressions to go in the proper direction.
This is amazing. Thank you very much, Nancy. Yes, this product, as Nancy mentioned, this product, scientifically proven and FDA validated to reduce free radical damage by 40% in 30 days. And in some studies by 70% in 120 days. And 120 days is a lifespan of red blood cells. Now, what strikes me about what Dr. Bryan said is we are nutrigenomics. And she was mentioning to you that, guys, we are hijacking our genes. And if we're not going to hijack our genes, these genes are going to be hijacked by the diversities of life. So choose your hijacker. So, and the funny part, the funny quote to quote part is, it's what Dr. Bryan said, you know, if the grandmother had a blood pressure, then I'm going to have a high blood pressure. Well, only 2% of our genome is unchangeable as coded. 90% of our DNA is changeable. And it's up to me and it's up to you to decide how to hijack it, whether hijack it the right way or hijack it the wrong way. So now, talking about free radical damage, let's turn to the second essential product, which is called NRF1 activator per tandem. Let's talk a little bit about mitochondria. Now, I usually tell people that this is one-two punch. Why is it one-two punch? Following Dr. Bryan, free radical damage is the most damaging for that essential organelle or that part in the cell that basically keeps us alive, which is called mitochondria. Mitochondria is the powerhouse. This is the organelle that gives us energy. And if you don't have enough, and if you're searching for the couch during the day, or at 3, 4 o'clock you have a brain fog, your mitochondria is not working right. You have too much of free radical damage. So, right, A, energy. B, when I told you that mitochondria hold the keys to the cellular health, I wasn't lying. Because mitochondria, healthy mitochondria and unhealthy mitochondria controls our DNA. It controls our genome, controls our nucleus. So the importance of healthy mitochondria is undescribable. Now, with aging, what happens is not only our mitochondria become sluggish or dysfunctional, we lose the number of mitochondria. So how do we bring it back to vibrancy? A, we bring it back with the proper nutrient-dense foods. B, we bring it back with exercise. And C, we're bringing back with reduction of free radical damage. And this product, another thing is, the latest study proves that this product increases mice life by 7%. The study that was conducted by National Institute of Aging. Now, so this product, what allows us to do is allows us to make new and more functional mitochondria. Why is it one-two punch? Because this one is going to clean the old ones and make them functional. This one is going to make the new ones. That is exactly why it's one-two punch. Now, going into diseases, why I told you the importance of mitochondria. Now it's a nucleus, but 50% of autistic kids have dysfunctional mitochondria. Diabetes is directly linked to dysfunctional mitochondria. Parkinson's disease, Huntington disease, Alzheimer's disease. Please, guys, please mute yourself. And especially cancer. All of these diseases, they have bad, dysfunctional, unable mitochondria. That's why we need to fight it. So we got the, one-two punch with NRF1 and NRF2 per tandem. We got it. It's a must. Now, let's talk a little bit about why microgut is a must. Why the colonic health is so critical for our health and our well-being. Dr. Bryan.
Well, I tell you, I was so thrilled when I found out about this product because there's a lot of probiotics out there and very few of them actually are able to get through the stomach acid. And as a result, they're just really not very valuable. They don't really do anything for you. Everyone's being told, take a probiotic. We need probiotics, that's the secret to gut health. And yet there was not really a consistent product on the market that was going to really help with that? That was one of the questions I received all of the time. And so one of the things that becomes the biggest issue for probiotics is just having it alive. To have it actually get to where it needs to go is a huge factor. So with the probiotic from LifeVantage, our ProBio, there are two parts about it that are very special. The first is how something is made is extremely important. That delivery system is going to determine a huge amount of the success of a product. It is made with something called BioTrack. And what that means is when you have a ProBio coming into the digestive tract, to get through that acid, we have to have a means for it to be protected so that it's not activated until it gets through that stomach acid. As a result of the BioTrack and how it surrounds this product, what it does is it allows up to 60 to 70% of those culinary forming units to get through the stomach acid. And it's really difficult because you're trying to go through a really difficult acidic situation to get into the secondary part of the digestive tract where all the action is going to happen, where we need to have all of our nutrients taken care of. So when you start taking a look at the ProBio as it goes through the stomach, it passes through, and as it starts going into the smaller intestine, it's going to start delivering the lactobacillus, first of all, in that upper area where it needs to go. And what you need to understand is think of your digestive tract as having a bunch of little garages. We want all those little garages filled with good probiotics because they aren't there just the moment you're eating and the things that are going through. They need to live there. They need to make something called a biome. And to do that, we have to have a place for them to be living. So the first section is going to happen. We're going to have this little sphere start to dissolve. The good portion of lactobacillus is going to go into that first section of the small intestine where it needs to live. And then further down, we're going to deliver some other activated cultures that are going to go live where they need to live. And then they're in the right place where they need to be, and they're going to continue to flourish, which is what we need to have happen. The second thing is, so once we get those probiotics where they need to live, we also have to have some things that keep them happy. They have to have their own food source, so to speak, a prebiotic that's in there to help them stay where they need to stay and to flourish. That whole process takes about 10 to 12 hours. And so it's a time-released method that's going to allow those probiotics to be where they need to be. The secondary part that makes this so unique is it also contains something called Wellmune. And Wellmune is the ability for our immune system to flourish properly. It's going to be activated, but it's not going to be overactivated. That's extremely important because when we have overactivated immune systems, we get inflammation and a lot of other things that we don't want to happen. And so it's really essential. And by having the whole digestive tract starting to heal based on the probiotics, what you're going to see is the absorption and the utilization of our NERV2 activator and our NERV1 activators being able to be utilized most efficiently. And there's so many different chemical equations that occur based on all of that process happening. So what we want to be able to do is have all of those nutrients be able to be in the places they need to be. And that's what the ProBio is going to give you.
This is tremendous. Thank you very much. Guys, you need to understand that there is an absolutely, what Dr. Bryan said, there's an absolutely direct link between our gut and our brain, which is called the gut-brain axis. And basically, our happy hormone serotonin is produced in our gut. Well over 70% of serotonin is made in our microgut. So having a proper probiotic that allows our microgut to flourish and become normal and healthy, how critically important it is, as well as Dr. Bryan mentioned to you the importance of our immune system. So over 70% of our immune system resides in our gut. And that immune system can work right and it can work wrong exactly depending on the quality and the population of microbacteria. And it's our job to repopulate our gut and reactivate, upregulate our gut with proper bacteria colony stimulating units. So this is tremendous, as well as our vitamins. Our microgut produces a whole bunch of critically essential nutrients, including vitamin B complex, including vitamin B12. So and again, the importance of well-immune is tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So now we're going to so you got the idea that those three are must. And again, the teaching and the philosophy of the supplementation, it cannot be done in a month, it cannot be done in a week, it cannot be done in a day. We accumulate, we grow our health, you know. Now, let's go and let's talk about the new kid in the block, which is called Omega Plus. And these omegas are, so basically, this is a combination of essential fatty acids and a vitamin D. Now, it's interesting when we call essential fatty acids. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we cannot make it. So it means that we have obtained it. And the beauty about, I actually like the bottle. It's cool, it's shiny. But the beauty of these omegas, we know where it's coming from. We actually track and trace these omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-7 essential fatty acids to the fish. It was caught in wild, cold Norwegian waters. That's how clean this product is, and that's what LifeVantage stands for. The QA, or the quality of ingredients, that's what separates us. So essential fatty acids, our famous omega-3s, omega-6s, omega-7s, and we're not going to be talking about the importance of vitamin D because everybody knows how critically important vitamin D is for our existence. Now, omegas. So I am a vegan, and I'm a vegan for many, many years. And the problem with vegans is when we eat plant-based omegas, chia seeds, and please, we need to eat them, chia seeds, the flax seeds, the hemp seeds, different kinds of oils, like nut oils. What happens is the two most essential fatty acids, they're called EPA and DHA. It's very hard to make them. From the vegan products, from the vegan raw food, like as I mentioned, seeds, some of us do make it, and actually some of us do not convert it. So omegas should be obtained from the fish supply predominant, obviously from natural, as I mentioned, but from the fish source. And that's what happened. Now, it is very important, the ratio between omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-7s, they stand on their own. Your optimal ratio is 4:1 omega-3s to omega-6s. And unfortunately, our Western diet is hugely high on omega-6s, especially our famous canola oil. So please stay away from canola oil. Please stay away from safflower oil. Please stay away from sunflower oil. These are very, very unbalanced, unhealthy oils. And some conventional meats, they're also very high on omega-6s. Now, what's the problem with omega-6s? The too much of omega-6 fatty acids creates inflammation. It is pro-inflammatory, which is bad. A lot of omega-3s. That's why the healthy combination is at least 4 to 1, creates anti-inflammatory reactions. It upregulates anti-inflammatory cytokines or chemical molecules. Now, why these omegas are so important for our health? Because it's critical for sustainability of our nervous system and our brain. The nerve cell membranes or the envelope is built with these guys, and vitamin D is absolutely critically essential for that health, as well as a cancer protector. Vitamin D is critically important, as we know that deficiency in vitamin D is linked to multiple sclerosis and environmental cancers. So omegas, again, nervous system health, as well as healthy omega-3s and 6s are linked in prevention of cardiovascular disease. So yes, we absolutely need to eat our fats, and our healthy fats and our good fats. It's probably not enough in what we're consuming. So thank you, LifeVantage, for coming with a very clean and amazing omegas. So guys, so that is why, you know, we as physicians or healthcare practitioners or pharmacologists actually teach, do not take one, don't take two. You need to take the combination, because in conjunction with healthy mind, healthy nutrient dense foods, exercise, we need to take all of this to keep us healthy. And this is the point of our teaching today. So Dr. Bryan, do you have anything to add, or we will open to questions? Because I'm sure you are the question lady.
Well, I do want to add, I think that it's really important for people to understand the philosophy of LifeVantage is for overall wellness. And when we're looking at overall wellness, what we're trying to show here is a system that's being put together that's going to give our cells the best chance to give each person the optimum health that they can have. And it may not mean that it can cure everything. We always tell people we don't treat, mitigate, cure, or do any of those things. But what we're doing is giving the body its own ability. And that's the part that makes us so much different from a lot of the other supplementation out there. And I'd just like to put out there, one of the things that I do when I'm speaking to many of the people once they get started, it's really important that people are not taking other outside antioxidants. Outside antioxidants can actually somewhat interfere with the pathways that we're talking about. So when we're talking about putting together the activated essentials, we're talking about a complete system so that you don't have to take other vitamins and other antioxidants and those sorts of things. And I just want to bring that across because so many times people are taking many other things, and I get a lot of questions about interactions and those sorts of things. The reality is, once you're doing this, this has given your system the optimum of what it needs, and you don't need those other things.
This is an amazing comment. Thank you. And thank you for reminding me to mention to you guys, our omega-3s, 6s, and 7s, they're actually very unstable. So they're very easy to get oxidized. So this thing that reduces oxidative stress and free radicals latching on these omegas, again, it's that all additive. It's all what is in LifeVantage called synergistic. It's in that synergy of obtaining those supplements to our health. Okay, should we open to questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, guys, I cannot unmute 100 people. So please type your question and Dr. Bryan or myself will address it. Okay, let's get to the questions. It usually starts slow and then it starts.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
So you said not to have any other supplements when you're on this supplement. So if you're on the probiotic, by itself, because that's all that she's willing to take, should she take the Centrum 50 Plus that she is on, because she won't take the Nerf 2?
No. And I'll tell you, no.
No.
And
Drop it?
No.
no. And here's the reason. We not only can tell you that they, can give trouble in terms of interfering with some of the things we have, but if they're not, one of the things that we have found now is that in many cases, all of those multivitamins and things that they're throwing in there create more trash, more oxidative stress, and they're actually more damaging than they are healthful. And especially when so many of them have higher than recommended daily allowances in there, our bodies are not meant to get all those massive doses of vitamins and antioxidants. And so what happens is it just confuses all those pathways, and it ends up being actually more trash that the body has to take care of and more oxidative stress. And so actually, you know what, the ProBio by itself is not going to be addressing any of those things, and those vitamins that you're adding in there really truly are not going to have any value.
So just take out the vitamin. And then maybe I can get the Nerve 2 introduced to her, but
I tell people, if you cannot, because I realize there are people that really have their mind set on certain things, our foundation is the Nerve 2 pathway. That Nerve 2 pathway, as a master regulator, is going to open up a lot of different things in our body to operate. So if they're only doing one thing or two things, I definitely would go with the ProBio and the Nerf 2, because our gut, as Sveta had told you before, is ultimately important in terms of all the things that go on in our body, the connections between our gut and our brain, the blood sugar connections between our pancreas, and what happens with all the different cascading effects of our foods all start in our gut. So at least if you can get the probiotic in there and have that functioning properly, you're going to start seeing the leaky gut being addressed a little bit by the Nerve 2 pathway operating effectively. So that would be the better start.
thank you.
Okay, guys, is there prebiotic in ProBio? Absolutely. Wellmune is a prebiotic in ProBio. Is there dairy in ProBio? No, there is no dairy in ProBio.
I will address one thing about that, though, that I would like to mention, because if people are really, really, really ultra sensitive to dairy, I do know that the culture medium that a couple of the probiotics are grown in does have a touch of dairy, but we really have not had a huge effect with that. So if someone is ultra sensitive to dairy, they may want to start with just taking one or two and see how they do. But I have not had really any trouble with it, but I do bring that up.
Thank you. It's just the food. Absolutely. It's the food. It's like, they need to eat it, but themselves is just the bugs.
Right.
What are the proper doses of the products and how to take them? Okay, Dr. Bryan.
Great question. I'll tell you what, because I have so many different people with lots of different issues. And what I love about this system is, unlike Western medicine, where you're starting from the bottom up and trying to deal with each individual thing, we're starting from the top down. And what that means is, for the most part, how they're labeled is the appropriate way to take them on the whole. But I will tell you, if someone's been on a lot of medications and has been very ill for a long time, I do tend to go slower. We didn't talk today about the cleanse. I do like to address the cleanse a little bit, because I do think that's instrumental and helpful in helping somebody get off to a good start. But basically what they're going to do is start with the probiotics, have them take the probiotics for a good day or two. Once they get on that, add the Nerf 2. And the Nerf 2 is one tablet daily.
Please mute yourself.
And the once they've been on the Nerf 2 for a few days, then I go ahead and add the Nerf 1. The Nerf 1 dose comes as 2 capsules. The reason it's 2 capsules is we didn't want you to have to take a great big capsule. So the dose is 2 capsules, just so that they were 2 smaller capsules, and that will supply all of the things we need for the NRF1 activation of those mitochondria and repair. And then for the omegas, it's actually 3 of the omegas is the recommended daily dose. A lot of people early on were having issues about taking NRF1 and NRF2 together, but we have since had studies to show us that it's okay to go ahead and take those. But I try to remind people the NRF2 activator works best when it's taken with some form of fat. So a lot of times we'll have people take it maybe with a little bit of coconut oil or something like that, so that it helps activate it fully. And at that time, then go ahead and take the NRF1. The secondary thing I do like to bring up is now and then there are some people when they start taking NRF1 that they get a little bit tired for a small period of time. If they've had a lot of mitochondrial damage, sometimes it takes the body quite a bit of time to get caught up with that mitochondrial repair. Because think about it, this is something that's not been happening, and then all of a sudden, I mean, these are really potent and active products. They're going to actually go in and actually start helping you to create not only healthy mitochondria, but more mitochondria. It actually is going to increase the numbers of them. And that's a big process. So sometimes people take that at nighttime if they find themselves tired, and they can continue to do that. Or after about 4 weeks, that usually catches up with itself and they can take it during the day. So hopefully that will be helpful. The omegas, I believe on the labeling does state to be able to take it with meals. So overall, if that's what's easiest for people, we just want you to get it in your system. So ultimately, if it means you have to take all of it in a handful at one time, I'd rather you do that than not take it.
Awesome. Can omega be taken with high blood pressure?
Absolutely. In fact, I would think that it's going to be, along with the NRF2 activators, something that's going to help to reduce that. What I tell people all the time when they're on blood pressure medication and they get started on this system, I ask them if they'll take the time to start really monitoring their blood pressure, because many times they'll start seeing it drop fairly quickly. And if that's the case, I certainly want them to make sure they've notified their doctor or discussed it, because they may need to have a dosage reduction. So it's really important. You are not going to see interactions with the medications, but what you will see is that many times medications will start actually working better as your system is improving, and as a result, you need to have a dosage reduction.
Awesome, thank you. This is a long question. I have somebody with digestion complications, damaged digestive tract, and when they take a supplement, it causes pain, and they get caught and stuck in the digestive tract. How would you able to help them? I don't particularly understand that question, but that's
right. Well, and it's difficult for us because we're not treating patients here.
Right.
But here's what I would recommend as a whole when I talk to people, because most of the people I see and talk with have been through many things and are not in very good shape. So I have a lot of challenges when I'm speaking with them. If they have a really severe digestive issue, and I am talking all the time with people, everything from Crohn's to irritable bowel, very complicated, very severe digestive issues. And if you could see the digestive tract, literally, it is not one solid tube. It's all these cells together. And what happens when you have leaky gut, that's literally what it is. There's so much inflammation, the cells start pulling apart and things are going through the walls into areas they shouldn't. So what this is going to do, if you go very slowly, I would again start with just maybe doing one of the probios just to kind of get things going. You go slow, that's going to allow the NRF2 activator to be able to go in there. So use a half of a NRF2, and maybe it needs to even be crushed and put in, excuse me, with a food source that they know they can trust, be it applesauce or something that's going to be soothing to go into that digestive tract. But the inflammation is the biggest issue, and I don't know any tool better than these 4 things to be addressing that. Sveta, your thoughts?
Awesome.
Well, absolutely. There's so many things that need to be addressed, including leaky gut, um, the diet, sort of start cleansing or reducing that mucus, that inflammation on the wall. Obviously, applying very small doses of supplementation in order not to cause the healing crisis and stuff. But somebody's diet needs to be changed because absolutely that shows me that probably a very pro-inflammatory diet and stuff. We need to, again, the supplementation that we are talking about, it's not to treat, cure, mitigate disease. It's a part of a lifestyle. So we need to get to the root cause of the problem. Before, knowing that root cause, we need to address it with a part of it is going to be our supplementation.
But having said that, I will say this, Feta, there are so many younger people with major digestive issues these days. And so what I do want you to understand is I have worked with many people with that situation, and it has been incredibly helpful to them. To have your own antioxidants coming back on is very healing to the digestive tract.
Absolutely, because the root cause of this chronic inflammatory bowel conditions is an oxidative stress.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, guys, I've always, from Dr. Kat Kading. Hi, Kat, how are you? I've always heard that you need 2.7 grams of EPA to be truly anti-inflammatory. Why is ours low? Nancy?
I didn't hear all of the question. I apologize.
I've always heard that you need 2.7 grams of EPA to be truly anti-inflammatory. Why the dosage is low in our product?
Well, first of all, you got to remember we're utilizing this within a system. So right off the bat, being on a nerve to activation process is already putting everything underway. So with with the products that we have, it's the combination. We want the proper ratio. We're not looking for grams. We're looking for a proper ratio, and that's the key. The other thing, not all EPAs are created equal. These are coming from the freshest fish in the coldest waters. And so that makes a massive difference in terms of the true, oh gosh, how do I even describe it? What the true product is in itself. The sources of it matter. A lot of times what you're looking at isn't even always a pure product. It may be synthetic in parts, right? And so that's where we're looking at.
Kathy, even in the question, truly anti-inflammatory, again, we do not treat, cure, mitigate disease. A. B, omegas of all supplementation that we bring. This is really, truly a supplementation because in addition to this, if you actually apply the Mediterranean diet or proper diet with wild fish, or with free-range animals or free-range eggs, a different combination of plant oils and seeds and nuts. So you will overextend the 2.7 grams of EPA and DHA. Right. So again, the thing what LifeVantage brings, yes, absolutely, clean, beautifully potent and stuff, that this needs to be a part of the healthy lifestyle. The question is, if somebody is on antibiotic, when can they introduce our probiotic, or can they take it simultaneously?
Oh gosh, that goes back and forth all the time. My own personal philosophy in the past was that it was pretty much a waste of time to take a probiotic during an antibiotic because it was going to destroy it and it was not going to be utilizable. With this, it's a little bit different because when you're taking an antibiotic now, when you add this probiotic along with it, you've got Wellmune in there as well. It's going to help the immune system boost itself and help take care of what the antibiotic is killing. And the thing of it is, when you're killing off all those different bacteria, any period of time that we don't have that fully functional is the time frame when we have a lot of toxins escaping and we have nutrients not being utilized. So I would say to use the probio during antibiotic use.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, if someone has irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory bowel syndrome, should they take cleanse first before probio? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I do start them slow. I'll start them off with one the first day, two, one twice a day the second day. I do go slow, but they absolutely positively should use the cleanse.
I think we answered the question how to obtain the product. What if someone has pernicious anemia or iron deficiency? Not taking other supplement isn't an option.
Are they talking about iron supplementation?
I guess.
Probably, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Again, there's lots of different reasons for anemias, and some of them are genetic, some of them may be bleeding. There's so many different forms and reasons for it.
Absolutely.
And so the thing you need to understand is we're talking about a system to help the optimum cell health. And by doing so, you may see improvement with that. But if they need to have iron, that's going to be a treatment the doctor's going to make the recommendation of, and it should be done according to blood levels. So
Absolutely.
that's not the kind of supplementation we're talking about.
Absolutely. One needs to know the etiology or reasons for this iron deficiency and address it. If one has very low levels of vitamin D, is omega plus enough? No, omega plus is not enough. It doesn't have sufficient amount of vitamin D, so vitamin D needs to be supplemented. In omegas, we have about 700 to 800 international units. I personally go by prophylactic 5,000. So if somebody is severely vitamin D deficient, they may need massive doses of vitamin D.
One thing I would like to get back to on the supplementation, when I say no supplements, I'm talking mainly about vitamins and antioxidants. What we do need to understand is we still do need minerals. So people still do need calcium, magnesium, selenium, that type of thing. The problem is many of those products out there throw in a lot of other things that are unnecessary. So we try to keep it as clean as possible. And I just want to make sure that that was clarified.
Thank you. I'm not going to answer the question, how many of the necessary probiotic types will repopulate after antibiotic therapy. So here's the deal. Our gut has over 200 species of different colonies. We have 6 species. So ours is intended to not only repopulate some of it, but majorly to reactivate the proper microgut. Do you take any additional vitamins or supplements in addition to 4 you are discussing? In other words, no extra vitamins required, ?
So when I do my talks, what I talk about, especially now that we have the omegas, because that used to be part of my talk, is you do need to go find some clean omegas, and now we have one, yay. So the missing link for me still is that we do require a good calcium source. And I do talk about that a lot. And I tell people, if you can find a calcium source that has more than one kind of calcium carbonate is not going to do it for you. You need to have calcium citrate. There's probably, 6 or 7 kinds of calcium that are out there. Some of them are from plants. Some of them are from the sea. Some of them are from fruits. So you just need to go out there and do a little research, find a good calcium. It should contain some magnesium and some manganese with it. And it's really helpful if it has some selenium and some zinc along with it. But those minerals we cannot make as well. And those are essential. And I would add that to this, but that's it. The outside of that, eat well. Try to eat
well. Eat well. Eat right. You can get your selenium from Brazil nuts.
Correct.
You can get amazing amount of bioavailable and bioabsorbable calcium from seaweed and from cruciferous vegetables. You can get your magnesium from healthy chocolate amongst the greens and stuff. So eat right. Should you be rotating your probiotic? Yes, you should be rotating your probiotic. I don't particularly know the time of rotation, but I believe one should rotate the probiotic, but you need to find the rotator to be one of the best in the market as well. Yes, Nancy, would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. No, I absolutely do.
Um, I have a customer complaining on headaches with NRF2. I assume it's detox. Encourage her to drink more water. Yes.
Yes.
When taking NRF1, I became ill. I tried to push it through. I have a squeezing, a feeling in my chest. I've always had a challenge with rhodiola rosea, including allergy. I don't know that we can sometimes work through allergies. Do you have any suggestions how to work through the allergy?
Well, first of all, I would start, if they have not done the cleanse, I would definitely do the cleanse, because a lot of those allergy or sensitivities, I'd call them more so, stem from a lot of things hanging out in our digestive tract. So try to get the cleanse done. I know that I have had a few people where they've only been able to take one of the Nerf ones, and that's what they do. They take the one, and they've not been able to build up to the two. It's very few people that I've had happen with that, but over time they've been able to build up to be able to take the two, but sometimes it may take 2 or 3 months. So just back down, and even if it's every other day to get started, we have to allow our bodies to catch up. And if they're feeling pressure in their chest or whatnot, one of the things that we have to keep in mind is our heart is a muscle, and it has a lot of mitochondria. And so it could very well be a sensation of mitochondrial repair that they're feeling that might make them feel uncomfortable. And that's understandable. So just go slow and let your body get caught up to it.
This is awesome. Can we give omegas to kids? Absolutely.
And maybe they would only take one, based on the dosage that we have. But I think that, they need it more than
Brain development is for brain.
totally brain development. And most of them don't want to eat any kind of fish, right?
I didn't want to eat fish oil when I was a child.
No.
What would you recommend for somebody who just finished chemo and is nearly done radiation with their early stage breast cancer, and why?
I can tell you that I wholeheartedly make the recommendation. With the history of what happened with me personally, I certainly wish I would have had it sooner than I did. It has made an astounding difference in how I feel and the health of my cells. And what's going to happen is, after all those treatments, there's so much oxidative stress that's resulted from some of the treatments. It's the way to get the body back in balance. We want balance. This is all about wellness. This is all about giving cells what they need from our own body.
Thank you. The PC asked if omega is molecularly distilled. Oh, this is a question for you, not for me.
What was the question?
Is our omegas molecularly distilled?
I have no idea. I'll be
Me
perfectly,
neither.
yeah, I have no idea, but I can tell you this, the way that we manufacture all of our products so far exceeds any other supplementation manufacturers that I've personally dealt with, and I've dealt with many.
And to be honest with you, I do not want it molecularly distilled because it will add free radicals.
The reason that they probably are doing that, I'm just going to tell you, is maybe they're not using very good fish, so they're trying to get some bad things out. We're using really good fish when they're using some of the best fish. And one of the things that we like to talk about, I don't know if everybody caught this if they were in Orlando, but we're talking about sustainability at the same time. We're only doing they're going in and they're fishing and they're getting this fish for food. It's the parts that are left over that this is made from. And we're able to track back right to the boat from our bottle. We can track all the way back to the boat, to the day, to the time, which is incredible ability to find out. And so when we're taking a look at and again, I'd have to take a look a little bit more into molecular distilling, but my guess is, just based on that raw definition, they're trying to pull out things that they might be afraid are in there. And up in those seas in Norway, they're already doing all of that stuff on the boat before we're even given it.
Right. Is the dosage the same for all body sizes? Like The thing is, the answer is yes and no. By Dr. McCord, the answer relies on the number of cells. However, the body mass, again, is in consideration. People who are 300 plus pounds will need a little bit more as opposed to a child under 100 pounds of weight. So yes, in terms of cells, number of cells, let's say a horse only needs basically 1 pill of Protandim, just because the number of cells in the body. Uh, Again, we're not treating, curing, mitigating disease. Somebody was diagnosed with aggressive thyroid cancer, 33 years of age. I had surgery last week, biopsy results not back yet.
Again, what we're trying to do is have the best optimum cell health. And
Right.
that happens through having our master regulation NERV2 pathway. When that is operating properly, that gives our cells the best chance for it to operate normally. But we can't talk about treatments of disease states.
Awesome, thank you. What does rotating probiotic means? It means that 1 week you take, let's say 4 weeks you're taking probio, and then 4 weeks you're taking another probiotic. Then you go to probio, then you take another probiotic, because different probiotics have different species. And I already told you that our microgut contains over 200 species. That's why you're rotating. It's like you need to rotate your foods as well. Recommendation for NRF2 for 8-year-old kid. It is based on the weight of a child. If the child is under 100 pounds, it's a half a pill. 50 pounds, quarter of a pill. She has high cholesterol. She needs to be examined for a genetic mutation if she's got high cholesterol, or she needs to, the parents need to adjust the foods, because a lot of kids these days, they have high cholesterol because they're consuming tremendous amount of sugar. And it's not about fats, it's about the sugar.
People don't understand that correlation, is that it's the sugar.
Yeah, it's not about fat, it's about the sugar. Could you please repeat what you said about iron deficiency? Iron deficiency needs to be investigated, the cause why a person has a low blood count and low iron. There are different reasons for iron deficiency. And if somebody is bleeding from ulcer, maybe some tumor or something, or maybe excessive menstrual flow, it needs to be investigated. So doctors know how to do this. Guys, I think we answered all the questions, and it's 9 o'clock. Dr. Bryan, as always, my tremendous, tremendous gratitude and respect and admiration. And also, my heart goes to you. Dr. Bryan just recently lost her mother-in-law. So, and for her doing this for us and to us, it's just unbelievable. That's what LifeVantage people do. So thank you. Guys, I will invite you to the next Monday, 8 p.m. Seminar, science seminar, that is going to be co-host with incredible dietitian Joanne Shearer, who is co-creator of Physique and co-creator of Omegas. So probably will be concentrating on probio regimen, and on omegas, on the diet and stuff. So I invite all of you. And oh, hang on, there are a few more things. Hang on. Oh, apparently we were phenomenal. Thank you. Okay, guys, a good night. And for Edmontonians, we have an opportunity presentation tomorrow at 7 p.m. It's on Big Blue calendar. I don't know about Americans. Nancy, thank you very much. And thank you to all of you. Guys, I will see you next week. Good night.